motivation? What drives Angel Reese?
Just being able to be where I'm from. I'm from Baltimore. I'm my mom is a single mom. Being able to raise 2 kids. I mean, I just graduated.
She wasn't even trying. And that's exactly why Angel Reese has the whole internet losing its mind. Let me tell you something about Angel Reese. The woman does not have an off switch. There is no version of her life where she just blends into the background, fades into the crowd, or goes unnoticed. It doesn't matter if she's under the brightest arena lights in the country, with 20,000 people screaming her name, or if she's stepping out of a training facility in sweats with her hair pulled back and not a filter in sight. Angel Reese is going to stop.
Why does Angel Reese always keep her shorts under 6 inches? The real reason is both surprising and a little heartbreaking. On the court, Angel is known for her powerful yet fluid movements, but her
deal has turned into one of the most talked about clips circulating on social media, and the reason why is honestly more fascinating than anything a publicist could have planned. Here's what happened. A moment from Angel Reese's post-workout life surfaced online. Casual, unpolished, completely unscripted. She wasn't posing. She wasn't performing. She wasn't in a glamour shoot with a team of stylists hovering around her, touching up her edges every 30 seconds. She was just existing, relaxed. Post-training energy, the kind where your body has been pushed and you're in that quiet, grounded space where the work is done and you're just you. No heavy makeup, no elaborate outfit. Just Angel Reese being Angel Reese in the most effortless, unguarded way possible. And somehow, that ordinary moment hit the internet like a lightning bolt. Comments exploded. Shares piled up. People who follow her and people who had never given her a second thought suddenly could not stop talking. And if you're sitting there asking yourself why a simple post-workout moment blew up the way it did, you're asking exactly the right question. Because the answer tells you everything about who Angel Reese actually is. Let's start from the beginning. Because if you're going to understand why this moment hit the way it did, you have to understand the kind of person Angel Reese has always been. Long before she became the face of women's basketball. Long before the highlight reels and the magazine covers and the brand deals and the millions of followers who hang on her every move. Angel Reese grew up in Baltimore, Maryland, the kind of city that doesn't let you get soft. She was born into a world where confidence wasn't handed to you. You built it yourself or you went without. From the time she was young, it was clear that she had something, a presence, an energy. The kind of thing that coaches and scouts and people who have been around athletes their entire lives describe as it, that undefinable quality that separates the ones who are good from the ones who are unforgettable. She had it then. She still has it now. And what that casual post-workout moment proved is that it never turns off. Her basketball journey is the stuff of legends at this point. She came out of St. Francis Academy in Baltimore as one of the most heavily recruited players in the country. A 5-star prospect who could have gone anywhere. She chose LSU. And what she did in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, is the kind of story that gets turned into documentaries. Under Coach Kim Mulkey, Angel Reese became something more than a great college basketball player. She became a phenomenon. In the 2023 NCAA tournament, she was absolutely unstoppable, averaging the kind of numbers that had professional scouts sitting up straight in their chairs. And when LSU went all the way to the national championship and defeated Iowa in one of the most watched women's basketball games in history, the whole world saw Angel Reese do something that made her both beloved and controversial at the exact same time. She taunted, she gestured, she stared Caitlin Clark down with that now iconic hand-to-face wave. And instead of apologizing for it, she owned it. She said it was everything that men do every single day on a basketball court and nobody bats an eye. The double standard was real. She named it. And in doing so, she became a symbol, not just of basketball excellence, but of a generation of young women who refused to shrink themselves to make other people comfortable. That moment launched her into a different stratosphere of fame. Suddenly, Angel Reese wasn't just a college basketball star. She was a cultural figure. She was on covers. She was in campaigns. She was getting invited to events and fashion shows and collaborations that most athletes never see in their entire careers. And through all of it, she carried herself with that same unwavering confidence, that same refusal to apologize for taking up space. Fast forward to her entry into the WNBA, where she was drafted 7th overall by the Chicago Sky. And the expectations were enormous. The pressure was real. Because when you arrive with that level of hype, that level of public attention, there is an entire section of the internet just waiting for you to stumble. Waiting to say, see, all that confidence wasn't earned. All that bravado was just smoke. And Angel Reese answered every single one of those people the only way she knows how, by going to work. Her rookie season with the Chicago Sky was a revelation. She came in and immediately made her presence felt in the paint, doing the dirty work, fighting for position, grabbing rebounds with a ferocity that made veterans take notice. She set records. She made the all-rookie team. She showed the basketball world that the hype was not manufactured, it was earned. And through her first season, something interesting happened. Beyond the basketball, beyond the statistics and the wins and the losses, people became fascinated with Angel Reese, the person. Her social media following exploded, not just because of what she did on the court, but because of how she carried herself everywhere else. There is an authenticity to her that is genuinely rare in the modern sports media landscape. In a world where most athletes and celebrities are carefully managed, where every post is approved by a team of handlers and every statement is filtered through a PR machine, Angel Reese just shows up and is herself. Loudly, unapologetically, completely. And that brings us back to this moment. This simple, unplanned post-workout moment that turned into one of the most talked about things on the internet this week. Because here's what people are responding to. And this is the detail that everyone keeps coming back to. The thing that's generating all the comments and the shares and the conversation. It's the confidence. Not the performed confidence of someone who knows the cameras are rolling. Not the rehearsed cool of someone who has been told by their team to project a certain image. It's the real thing. The bone-deep, completely natural confidence of a woman who is entirely comfortable in her own skin, even when she's sweaty and tired and fresh off a hard training session, with not a single thing done up for public consumption. That is actually rare. That is actually remarkable. Because most people, most of us, have versions of ourselves that we present to the world and versions that we hide. Most of us are performing at least a little bit all the time, especially when we know other people are watching. Angel Reese, apparently, does not get that memo. What people are seeing in that moment, and this is what's driving the conversation, is someone who looks exactly the same whether the spotlight is on or off. The energy is consistent. The presence is consistent. The sense of self is consistent. And in the era of filters and carefully curated aesthetics and influencer culture where everyone is packaging themselves into the most flattering version they can manufacture, there is something almost startling about seeing a person who simply exists at full volume all the time. People are responding to that realness. They're calling it magnetic. They're calling it rare. And they're absolutely right on both counts. Now, let's talk about what her life actually looks like right now, because the context matters. Angel Reese is navigating one of the most complex periods of her young career. She's still finding her footing as a professional athlete in the WNBA, a league that continues to grow in visibility and relevance, but still demands everything from its players with far less of the financial infrastructure that NBA players take for granted. At the same time, she's managing a public profile that has grown to a scale that very few athletes her age have ever had to handle. She has millions of followers across platforms. She has brand partnerships. She has her own show, her own podcast, her own lane in popular culture that she carved out herself. She is Angel Reese, the basketball player, and Angel Reese, the media personality, and Angel Reese, the cultural figure, all at once, every single day. That is an enormous amount of weight to carry. And yet apparently, she walks out of training looking like none of it is weighing on her at all. That's what people keep circling back to. The ease of it. Because the thing about high-pressure environments, and make no mistake, being Angel Reese right now is a high-pressure environment, is that they show on people. The stress shows up in the eyes, in the body language, in the careful way someone holds themselves when they know the world is watching and judging. And what this casual post-workout moment revealed is that Angel Reese simply does not carry that visible weight. She looks settled. She looks grounded. She looks like someone who has made peace with who she is and where she's going. And that kind of internal stillness, that quiet confidence beneath all the visible bravado, is genuinely compelling to watch. There are people who've tried to diminish what Angel Reese has built. There have been critics, and there have been controversies, and there have been moments where social media piled on in ways that were genuinely unfair. The scrutiny she has faced as a young black woman in sports has not always been kind. The double standards she has called out have been real and documented. But here's the thing about Angel Reese. She has never let that noise reshape her. She has not emerged from controversy smaller, more cautious, more willing to apologize for the space she takes up. If anything, she has emerged from every wave of criticism with more clarity about who she is. And that, ultimately, is what makes her compelling not just as an athlete, but as a person worth paying attention to. She is, in the truest sense of the word, unbothered. Not in the social media performance of unbothered where you pretend the criticism doesn't exist. Genuinely, authentically, structurally unbothered in the way that only people with a real foundation of self-knowledge can be. Her influence on the next generation of players is already significant. Young girls watching Angel Reese play basketball are not just seeing a talented player, they're seeing a permission slip. Permission to be loud. Permission to be confident before you've earned everyone's approval. Permission to take up space and demand credit and celebrate your own achievements, without waiting for the world to validate you first. That is a powerful thing to model, especially in women's sports, where for decades the expectation has been that female athletes should be grateful and humble and careful never to seem like they think too much of themselves. Angel Reese looked at that expectation and clearly decided it was not her problem to uphold. And a generation of young athletes is watching and taking notes. The Chicago Sky are counting on her to be a central pillar of their franchise for years to come. And if her trajectory continues, if she keeps developing her game the way she has been, if she keeps adding new dimensions to her offensive arsenal while maintaining the elite rebounding that makes her such a physical force, she has the potential to be one of the defining players of her generation in the WNBA. The foundation is already there. The hunger is already there. And if this post-workout moment tells us anything, it's that the mental infrastructure is there too. Because the players who reach the very top of their sport aren't just the most talented. They're the ones who maintain their sense of self through the pressure. They're the ones who can walk out of a brutal training session and still feel settled in who they are and what they're building. Angel Reese, at 22 years old, already looks like one of those people. And maybe that's the biggest detail of all. Maybe that's the thing that people are really responding to when they see that post-workout moment and can't stop watching it. Not just the natural beauty, not just the effortless style, not just the confidence, though all of those things are absolutely real and absolutely part of the package. It's the sense of a person who is exactly where she is supposed to be, doing exactly what she is supposed to be doing, completely at ease inside her own story. That is not something you can fake. You can't manufacture it in a campaign. You can't build it with the right lighting and the right angle and the right filter. It either lives in you or it doesn't. And in Angel Reese, it lives in her loud and clear even in the quietest, most ordinary moments of her day. The internet is going to keep talking about this. That much is obvious. Because when something feels real in a world full of performance, people lean toward it. They share it. They comment on it. They send it to their friends and say, "Did you see this?" And Angel Reese, whether she meant to start a conversation or not, has once again done exactly that. She sparked something just by being herself, which, if you've been paying attention, is kind of her whole thing. She doesn't need a stage. She doesn't need a production. She just needs to exist, and somehow that's always enough to make the whole room turn around and look. That's the Angel Reese effect. Real, rare, and absolutely impossible to ignore. If you made it this far, you already know what time it is. Smash that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments below, and if you're not subscribed to Champions yet, what are you even doing? Hit that subscribe button right now because we cover every story that matters in the world of sports. And trust me, you do not want to be the last person to know what's coming next. See you in the next one.